Hey everyone, JD here, and I just want to take 5 or 10 minutes to talk about the future of the Christians for Impact podcast. And to talk about it, I've brought on here my teammate Alex. How you doing, Alex?
Hello, I'm very good. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well.
So,
Um,
what is this new podcast that you're excited about?
so we're going to continue the Christians for Impact podcast, but we're going to relaunch it and at a steady pace. So we have episodes scheduled bi-weekly for the next half year or so, and if there's good viewership and good feedback, we'll continue it from there.
Okay, great. And are there any upcoming episodes that you're particularly excited about?
We've got one with Sarah from GiveWell. That one was recorded about a year ago. We've been sitting on it, but it's pretty evergreen content, even though a lot of it talks about USAID. A lot of it's commentary about like how as Christians we should think about global poverty and foreign aid, even when big secular institutions are talking about it. Anyways, it was a really powerful podcast. Also, we've got some with like the head of Wycliffe Bible translators in the UK. We have the head of a missions organization. We have a senior staffer for a US senator. We have a fundraiser who's raised, by his accounts, hundreds of millions of dollars for one of the two major parties in the US. We've got some interesting people coming up. And I think one common thread is that not every single person is doing work we would necessarily call like high confidence, like this is impact, but each person is either doing something impactful or something quite impressive that can teach us a lot about how we can have impact in our
Mm,
vocations. So just want to flag that, especially because there will be more people working in and around the kind of policy politics lanes in upcoming episodes.
yeah. I think that's okay though, because not everyone is going to be in a super high impact job like straight out of university. So I think it's good to see Christians who are working in maybe a field that they might end up working in and seeing how they can have an impact in that field. So I think it's a good direction for the podcast to go in.
Yeah, and it's helpful to see how like people outside of our circles, like nonprofit circles or effective altruism circles, are doing things well and are doing things that perhaps we can learn from. And asking them impact questions is really instructive, especially in the policy space where, there've been really savvy policy change makers for centuries. Um, and frankly, I think a lot of people that care about EA causes like global poverty or animal welfare or missions, they're not really thinking about policy in a savvy way.
Mm,
So it's good to bring in some of the big guns to talk about that.
yeah, exactly. So I know we've recorded maybe like 20 or maybe over 20 podcasts already that people can already watch on Spotify, on our YouTube channel. Are there any standouts that you remember being really good, but they just haven't been seen by as many people as they should be?
I think basically all of them, but I think one in particular, I I really was moved by Bruce Friedrich's podcast when I re-listened this. This is Bruce Friedrich from the Good Food Institute. When I re-listened to this, after people were telling me, "Oh, that's an amazing podcast," I thought, "Yeah, this is powerful stuff." Bruce is not the same piety as me. Like he's a devout Catholic, and he thinks about his faith in a somewhat different way, but he's so intense and he's so passionate about it. And he's also really clear about the way scripture complements and coincides with concern for animals in a way that was beautiful.
Mm,
My parents actually listened to it and they're like, yeah, we were not expecting this one to be about animals and two for us to be so moved by it. And then I re-listened to it and thought, yeah, if my parents like it, I should probably re-listen to it.
yeah.
And I did. It was great. How about
Yeah,
you?
I listened to that one as well, and that is one of my favorite ones. There's some bits in there that he really like paints such a good picture of what animals really experience and how God sees them that I think we don't tend to think about animals in that way often. So it's just a really good perspective shifter if you don't know a lot about like the suffering that animals go through. I also really liked Ed's talk or podcast. I also really liked Ed's podcast on 500K. I think he just shares like incredible stories of how he ended up working for this, and all the churches that were planted as a result of his faithfulness and his passion for reaching the unreached. And I also think it's one of our most popular episodes, so if you haven't watched that, you definitely should. But yeah, I'm excited for the new ones. There's a few that I've already listened to a bit, but I'm excited to for them to come out properly so everyone can watch them. Um, is there anything specific that you've learned from your time doing this podcast?
One thing I've learned is that it's pretty rare that you have a sit down conversation with someone where you drill deep into what they're doing and why.
Uh,
We talk to people every day, but so many of those conversations are interrupted, right?
for
Like, um, I just became a parent a year ago. And so now I feel like I have loads of 10, 15-minute conversations, but then, the baby needs help or, you have a lot of projects going on. And so you limit your Zoom calls to half an hour, which is good. You don't want these long meetings, right? Even one-on-one chats where you meet someone for the first time. You're not really getting permission to drill into their life story.
Mhm.
It's really special to have that space on a podcast to do that. Another thing I've learned is like AI will not take over podcasts, at least not soon.
No.
Already, you can ask an AI to study on your favorite topic at a level that you haven't even studied. Maybe it's like much deeper or broader than you've ever gone.
Mm.
Ask it to make a fake conversation between two people that are world experts on that. And it won't be as good as a conversation with an actual world expert on that.
No.
And it won't be as enjoyable either. It won't be as fun or human. So AI
Yeah.
isn't changing that anytime soon. But then a third thing I've learned is that podcasting is just an amazing tool for meeting people that otherwise wouldn't talk to you because they're too busy or because they don't know you're serious enough about what they care about. But if you ask them point blank, I want to talk to you about what you care most about, what you've dedicated your life to, and I want to learn all about that, why you're doing it, how to do it best, how someone like you can do it who's 30 years younger, just getting started. They love that, right? They really love that. And for them, it's I don't know if it's like a trip down memory lane or anything, but they want to help their younger self and they enjoy sharing their stories and helping somebody else. And I hope that with God's help, we're able to help others through this podcast. I have had I have had a few people tell me it's changed how they're thinking about giving, or I've had a couple people tell me it's one of their favorite podcasts. I mean, Henry Kastner told me it's his favorite podcast. I was very honored by that. And then I proceeded to not publish any more episodes because I wanted to end on a good note. No, but no, we have been busy with other things like our book and other projects. But it is still an amazing tool for meeting people who otherwise maybe wouldn't meet with you.
Yeah, and I'm glad to hear that it's not just impactful for the listener, but also for the person that you're talking to and the guests. So that's great to hear. How can listeners of the podcast support the podcast and, make it go even further?
So, if you know people working at organizations connected to ones we're talking about who are Christians, then it would be really great to be introduced to them, to hear from you. Like, you can message me at jd@christiansforimpact.org. Just write me with a podcast you'd like to hear. That would be really helpful. I am always interested in finding Christians working, uh, doing incredible things to change the world. A lot of times I don't even know they're a person of faith. And a lot of times they don't really have a context to share that. So you could actually do someone a favor if you know they're a Christian who's working, I don't know, at the world, high up in the World Bank or like in a charity or in policy. And they've never had the opportunity to talk about how their faith
Mm,
foundation motivates and sustains everything they're doing.
mm.
Um, you can do them a service uh, by encouraging them to come on this podcast or by writing me to invite them. That would be really helpful.
Great. That's amazing. Well, I'm excited for the new season of Christians for Impact podcast. Thanks so much, JD.
Me too. Me too. Thanks for all your help with this, Alex. And Sharina, too, for editing these episodes and uploading them. All right. Well, catch the next episode. We're starting out with an episode with Sarah at GiveWell, and that's coming out on July 1st.
Great. I'll be tuning in. Bye.